Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Fergus Mulligan, and today I want to do a little video about obsession with self-improvement and self-help and how that can get in your way and how it's got in my way. Yeah, I've had an interest in it from a very young age, and I wish I didn't, but I guess the high in openness is what drew me to it. And I see a lot of artists and a lot of really creative people high in openness get lost in the self-improvement trap when they should be focusing on their art. And what I've found over the last few years, and of the last year, I've really backed off that and focused on the art and the creative process, and that has been a better byproduct of self-improvement for me than the direct assimilation of self-improvement and self-help material. And now when I look at that type of material, I can feel there's a sort of a sense there or feeling there that tells me this isn't as rich and meaningful as the creative work that I'm exploring myself. And I think I'm in a good place in that sense. But I think a lot of creatives who haven't spent enough time in the unknown of making their own work, and maybe they're stuck in a creative rut of sorts, and they rely back on self-improvement material to remotivate themselves. And in that time, I feel like when you feel like really unmotivated and you feel like you're in the unknown, and it's as if you're starting again on this creative work or this creative project that you've just started, you'll seek self-improvement stuff to motivate you. But that shouldn't be the thing that motivates you. It should be some other drive in you, and you should pick the hard option, which I've been picking the hard option the last while, and it's been very rewarding. And the procrastination has really come back quite a bit, because I've gone, no, I want to seek motivation, but I won't. I'll just sit here, and I'll just sit here for an hour, and I'll try make something. And once I get over that hump, then the meaning in whatever I'm making, big or small, starts to come in. And then I know, I go, oh, fuck, I'm doing the right thing. I'm creating the right thing. Thank God I didn't get lost in a sea of stupid YouTube videos on how can I improve myself or better work practice. I just sit there and do it. Easy to say, but in the creative field, it's so open-ended, and sometimes it feels like the hardest thing in the world to just sit there and do this vague idea that you have, because that vague idea obviously needs to be worked out through the process, and it's always unknown. But it's that hard option. If you keep choosing it, you won't need as much motivation anymore. I think that's a good takeaway point. For creative people, this is a serious problem, because they don't have any singular identity they can attach themselves to. So which leads me on to my next point, is self-improvement and self-help was a big distraction for me and took me off my path. At times in my life, I knew I was on that path, and I could feel it. You can feel it. You know when you're on your path, whether that be a creative one or not. I think you can feel it. It's a sense, and the meaning that is associated with that is, yes, it can be fleeting, and you can forget what your path is. I think that's a problem being an artist. You can forget it. You can be in it, and it's a hard thing to remember, and you can be pulled off. But self-help and self-improvement, while that fills a void for you creatively in some sense, it will never fill you with that meaning that you'll get from exploring and making your own work, especially if you're high in openness and creative. You need to do that exploration for yourself. I definitely think for me it's been some sort of an addiction, and I think for a lot of creative people, they would probably say the same if we had a similar conversation. It's like, why are you so interested in that material? And so I'm trying to back off that. And as I've said in another video before, do less internal work and do more external work. That's really my big push for the moment. It's like, that internal work will happen for the rest of your life, and it will be a byproduct of the things that you do anyways. I'm trying not to waste my life just doing that internal work. And self-help can convince you that you've never done enough internal work. That's the problem with it. But the great thing about being an artist is, while it's a double-edged sword, when you make a work or whatever, nothing is resolved. Things are only explored. But what you get with that is you go a little further down the path. And when you go a little further down that path, you have a bit more understanding than you had before you started the project. And so your coping mechanism and your art of living improves. Now that I've done enough projects over the last few years or whatever, creative projects have a better effect on me than any reading material or watching any videos or studying any philosopher or psychologist or whatever will have. That will keep me level more than anything, ironically, even though because you're stepping into the chaos. But you get an order out of that. I thought if I poured this much amount of time into my creative work, I won't make any money and opportunities won't come by if I wholly focus on my path, because I know what my path now is. But opportunities have arisen because I'm on that said path. That might sound like a cliche, but I'm really starting to believe that to be true now. There was a point when I looked to the future and was like, I don't think I will ever make any money, ever, or success, or big successes out of my creative work. I don't see that for myself. While I love it, if I don't see that happening, but I think it's starting to slowly happen for me, which is brilliant, and I'm starting to believe that following your path first and foremost is an important thing, and the rest is all bullshit. You know? And my last point is that I've avoided making really tough life decisions because of it, and not directly fix those things or make those really tough decisions that require quite a lot of thinking, and I haven't given myself that space because I've always looked outside myself for external sources that I thought knew better than me. So that's kind of my final point. And if you find yourself in the same position that I am, my advice to you is to try catch yourself in that and go, well, what is my path? What is my actual path? Me? Are all these materials that I'm reading or focused on, are they helping me on my path? Or is that something getting in the way of my path? Is that a form of procrastination as such? I think if you ask yourself that question, and I need to ask myself that time and time again, you'll get a clearer vision of what you should be doing and not reading and avoiding those self-improvement traps. Anyways, if you enjoy this video, drop me a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.